Now. Welcome, everybody. This month, this is the month of February, and it is Heart Health Month. It's American Heart Health Month. So today we're going to be talking about matters of the heart, how we can care for our hearts naturally. And so we're just going to hop right on in with some statistics that, for me, were pretty staggering, right? Heart disease is the #1 killer worldwide. And I double checked that statistic because I'm like, surely people in healthier countries are not also dying from heart disease. But no, it is the #1 killer around the world. But the catch is 80% of the conditions are treatable, are preventable, with basic lifestyle choices, things that we choose to do every single day. And so when we talk about heart disease, we're talking about high blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes. These are some of the common conditions that we hear about that cause that are considered to be heart disease and that are killing us worldwide. And some of the factors: poor diet, lack of exercise, the inability to manage stress, excessive smoking and the excessive use of alcohol, uncontrolled blood pressure and diabetes. These are things that we hear about all the time. And I really want to give you some meat and some value for this conversation. Um, Researching for this topic was very enlightening for myself, because we hear you gotta move your body, you gotta eat right, don't do these things. But really understanding why it's so powerful, to me, was very impactful. And I hope to share some of what I've learned today with you guys. I also want to address that, there are some people that have heart attacks and heart disease due to genetic defects, right? Which means they check all the boxes for health, and still they have a heart attack, or they die from some heart related disorder. So I want to acknowledge that, but I do want to share that is rare. Those cases are rare. Most people that have heart disease and heart issues, it's because of controllable factors, right? Another thing that I want to mention too is that we hear a lot that certain things like heart disease and blood pressure, high blood pressure and diabetes, a lot of times we hear that these things run in the family, that they are something that just we got from our parents. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a genetic condition, right? There's a lot of science around this right now. The reality is, a lot of times what is being passed down through generations are lifestyle choices. It's diet, the foods that we eat, it's activity levels. All of those things play a role in it. So even if you think that maybe, or maybe you've had multiple people in your family have heart diseases, or maybe you've died from a heart attack or something like that, it doesn't mean that you can't take steps to really care for your heart and really address this naturally. So I also want to talk to you a little bit about how the heart works. You guys can see my screen, yeah? Maybe thumbs up, not my notes, right? Yeah, okay. Let's talk a little bit about how the heart works, a little bit of science for you guys on a Wednesday night. So the heart is a muscle, right? And it's pumping, right? It's actively moving, and it's pumping blood throughout the body. And the blood is going to carry the important things like oxygen and food to all of the organs within the body. And then the heart has 4 different chambers, 4 different parts of it that help with the blood flow. And then we've got arteries and veins that are moving that blood to and from the heart, so that we can get oxygen and all the things that we need for our bodies to function. Your heart beats about 100,000 times a day to keep your body working. It is such a critical organ. And so we have to make sure that we take care of it. Now, I want to address this really quickly because of my audience and my family, and it's very important to me. Black Americans are 30% more likely to die from heart disease when compared to white Americans. Also, Hispanic and indigenous communities, all of them have a higher rates of heart related conditions. And this is due a lot of times to limited access to healthcare, higher rates of high blood pressure and diabetes, stress, right? From systemic inequalities and just cultural dietary habits. But I want to just go back to the original point. 80% of this is preventable. So even if we are in a category that puts us at more of a higher risk, it doesn't mean that we are helpless or that we are victims. When we know better, we do better. And that's what I'm hoping that you guys get from this conversation today, myself included, is I want everyone to leave here feeling empowered and to know that we can take our health in our own hands and make really simple choices every day to take care of our hearts. All right, so let's talk about those daily choices. Now, I don't want to lose you guys here. I feel like this is a place where we lose people because we're going to talk about the 3 things that make the biggest difference. You've heard it all before. I know. Nutrition, making sure we are eating right? So fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fat, cutting the processed foods, cutting the sugar, the excessive salt, right? We also know that moving daily is something that we need to do all the time, right? Our bodies are designed to move, so we've got to get them moving. The goal is 30 minutes a day of physical activity. That's going to really help support the heart. And then stress management. How can we lower the stress in such a stressful time that we live in, right? How do we do that? But these are the 3 things that make the biggest impact. So when we say 80% of heart disease, heart-related death is preventable, this is what we're talking about: food, diet, exercise, stress management. But I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I don't want you to tune me out and be like, it's overwhelming. It's too much. It's too much. The goal of today is to keep it simple and to give you small things that you can do. You don't have to have a perfect plan. All you got to do is take that next first step. Okay. So that's what we want to talk about a little bit today. So I want to share my story with you guys. I know not everyone on this call is familiar with doTERRA, but we do have a lot of doTERRA oil heads is what I call us here. And that is mainly our audience. So I want to make sure you understand that the products that we talk about today, particularly this foundational wellness bundle that we'll talk a little bit about, this is one way that we can support our heart. And this is going to make it a lot easier. So if you feel overwhelmed, the first step could be here, because it is going to really make a tremendous a difference in supporting your body as a whole, but specifically the heart. So my story, I started with doTERRA back in 2018. And the first thing that I started was the old version of this kit right here. It's called the Lifelong Vitality Pack. That's where I started. And I saw a tremendous difference. I was about 38 right when I started realizing like something was wrong. I was on high blood pressure medication. I was on anxiety pills. I had headaches all the time. I was constantly in fatigue. Like I was always tired, and I was stressed out to the max. In fact, one of my holistic practitioners said, "You don't have high blood pressure. You don't know how to manage your stress, which is causing high blood pressure." Right. And so it was bad. And I was very worried about myself. He told me, Brother Rumsey, some of you guys know him. He told me, if you do not figure this out, you are going to be a very sick girl. And so this is what's triggered, that statement actually triggered this quest to be well and to take care of myself. And so here I am all these years later. I'll be 47 next month, which is blowing my mind in and of itself. And I feel better than I have ever felt in my entire life. I'm off all medications now. I have more energy. I'm making healthier choices. It just is now the way that my brain functions. I'm aware now. And I just feel really good. I am not done. First of all, I'm not at my goal weight. But I'm sharing this with you to show that this has been a process over several years, but small changes, right? Little things that I've added into my regimen and little things that I've learned have made a dramatic difference. Funny story. I applied for life insurance a few months ago because I don't have any, since I don't have a traditional job. And Stacy's husband helped me get it. Shout out to Keenan Milborn. And they make you, if you've ever done life insurance, they make you go through, like, they do all this blood work, more blood work than I've ever done in my life. And my numbers were so good across the board. They offered me a higher package, life insurance package. They're like, let's increase this. I was like, yeah, no, we good at where we are. But I was really proud of all of the changes that I've made, and I could actually see it. I saw the proof of it, right? And where I started was with doTERRA's Lifelong Vitality Pack. And this kit right here, it's called the Foundational Wellness Bundle. It's even better. It is even better. So just a quick hit for those of you that are on it. You already know it's a 2-minute routine. 2 minutes a day can change literally everything. So our VMG Plus right here, and it stands for vitamins, minerals, greens, plus essential oils. It's got over 90 premium ingredients. It's got whole food vitamins, whole food vitamins, minerals, fruits and veggies, digestive enzymes, probiotics. It's going to fill in those nutritional gaps. So if you struggle with eating right, adding this as you try to make dietary changes, it's going to be game changing. For me, the energy levels is significant. Even to me, the VMG Plus, my energy levels are even higher with this. What makes all of doTERRA's products different is that they are infused by essential oils. So what you're going to find with it is going to be more effective. It's going to penetrate into the cells where other supplements just cannot do that. Plus, the VMG Plus has advanced absorption technology. So it's going to get into the bloodstream faster, and it's going to stay longer, up to 8 hours. In the studies that are showing that this VMG Plus is staying in the system. It's incredible, and it doesn't taste like crap. I know you're looking at it and you're like, it probably is nasty. It's not. It's actually quite good. When you're talking about heart health, you need to know that omega-3 fatty acids are non-negotiable. Your heart needs it, and your body needs it. It's going to lubricate joints. It's going to help with inflammation, but it is known to really support the heart. What makes doTERRA's E-Omegas different is that they're powered by essential oils. There's wild orange in there, and that's going to keep the omegas from going rancid. And it's also going to have a break down toxins within the body. So side benefits come with this version of omegas. And there's no fishy aftertaste with this. You can actually bite it and you won't taste any fishy aftertaste. It's pretty incredible. And then the third component in this is PB Restore. This is a daily probiotic that does so many things, but as it relates to heart health, it's going to impact the it's going to support the heart health by influencing that blood pressure and your cholesterol levels. It's going to help with digestion, which is directly related to how the overall heart functions. It's going to reduce inflammation, which is a major cause in heart disease. And it's going to help support metabolism. So it's important for weight loss and overall wellness. So these PB Restore is an amazing addition. This is what we call our foundational wellness bundle. So think about this. If you are building a house, if your foundation has cracks in it, it doesn't matter how beautiful the house is. It will not be stable. It will not be strong. So think of these 3 core products as your foundation. When that foundation is solid and strong, then you can build upon it and do all the other things, the diet, the exercise, the essential oils, the other supplements you take. Everything is going to work better when the foundation is strong. Okay. So if you're not familiar with this and you want more information, just reach out to whomever invited you. This has been game changing. And if you can drop it in the chat, if you're on this foundational wellness and you've already seen a difference, it's incredible. Okay. So I just want you guys to keep that on your radar. Now, so that's the foundation. That's the foundation. Now let's get into those 3 things that we talked about. What are some easy ways that we can do it? And again, we got to just take a step. I'm not suggesting that you create this whole life, change your life in 30 days. No, we're not talking about that. We're just saying take really small steps to get the ball moving and to gradually change the life. So 10 ways that you can move more. First of all, Exercise is going to be really important for the heart. So the heart is a muscle. So when we move, then our heart is getting better at pumping. It gets better at what it's doing. So the better it does it, the less it has to work. So our goal, our objectives as vessels, right, trying to keep our hearts healthy, is to make sure our hearts aren't working harder than they need to. Okay. And then your heart exercising also will lower your blood pressure. It lowers the intensity at which your heart has to pump. The more you're moving, the less it has to do what it has to do, right? So your blood pressure is lower, which then will, just by extension, it's going to lower your cholesterol, right? So again, your overall heart health. So we just need to get out there and move 30 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be some super intense workout, but when we don't move on a daily basis, our blood vessels get stiff and it makes the blood really hard to flow. And this is where we get things like high blood pressure and high cholesterol and heart attacks. It's a simple thing, moving our body every day. So just a quick walk around the neighborhood, climbing the steps instead of taking the elevators. All of these 10 quick things that you can do to really help support the heart. And I would also add in there, for those of you who, like me, work from home, one of the best things that I ever could have done is gotten an app on a watch that tracks my steps so that I can see how much I'm moving on a daily basis, and also getting a walking pad. So a treadmill that sits right underneath your desk. So when you're in the zone and you're working, you can also be moving and getting that heart, giving that heart what it needs. So think really about, in your own life, think about what you can add in simply, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's the recommendation from the American Heart Association. All right, so let's talk about diet. We know we got to talk about that. So let's talk about why we need to make changes. Well, when we eat junk food, so that's food that's high in saturated fats and trans fats and refined carbs and sugar. So that looks like fried food, that looks like sweets, candy, things like that. That looks like a lot of carbs, excessive carbs, right? So all of that, what it's doing is it's creating inflammation in the body. And that inflammation is then raising levels of bad cholesterol. The LDL gets higher. Inflammation leads to high cholesterol. And I also want to just tag in there, inflammation also hurts. Your body's inflamed, so it hurts. So a lot of times when we're in pain, it is a direct correlation to what we are eating. So we have to be cognizant of that as well. It kind of kills two birds with one stone. And so over time, what's happening is all of those sugars and fats and all that stuff, it's contributing to plaque buildup in the arteries. So you've got all this extra stuff that's inside of the arteries, so the blood can't flow the way that it should. And therefore, we have high blood pressure and heart disease and heart attacks, because eventually, in some cases, the arteries are so clogged, the blood can't get to the heart, right? And even strokes, it can't get to the brain, right? But on the other hand, when we have foods like fruits and veggies that are high in antioxidants, when you think of antioxidants, you think of reduction of diseases like cancer, right? So antioxidants, healthy fats, fiber, lean proteins, all of these help keep the arteries clear and keep that blood flowing the way that it should, so that the heart is healthier. So look at this list of 10 things and take a few things. Just take a couple of them to start out with and say, you know what I'll start with? I'll start with hydration. I will get a cute big old cup and start drinking more water. That's where I'll start. Or I'll swap my my steak for fish. And maybe I'll have steak just once or twice a month, right? We're not saying you have to eliminate everything, but do understand that your diet is directly connected to the function of your heart. Okay. What about stress management? So stress impacts us. I think I think we underestimate how much of an impact stress has on our body. When we are in a state of stress, we go into what's called fight or flight mode, right? Where our heart speeds up and our blood pressure rises, right? It's pumping hard, right? Now, in a short time, like we get in a fight, we're being attacked, a bear is chasing us, something like that. That adrenaline rush, we need it, we want it. But the problem is when we stay in a state of fight or flight, which was who I used to be, in a constant state of stress. Well, your blood vessels narrow, and then it increases how hard how hard your heart has to pump the blood, right? So your blood pressure goes up, and it strains your heart, right? And again, it could lead to heart attack, to heart disease, to stroke, all of these things. In addition, when you're in a chronic state of stress, it's releasing hormones like cortisol, which also leads to inflammation in the body, right? It builds up in the arteries. It could lead to blockages. It could lead to heart attack. It could lead to stroke again, right? So again, short-term adrenaline rush, we need it. That's natural. But what we're trying to avoid is being in a constant state. And I cannot leave this slide without talking about doTERRA's adaptive line. Please, if you are familiar with the adaptive line, drop it in the chat. It is a game changer. And I believe it was divinely inspired because it came out in 2019. So that is how I survived COVID. Let me tell you, the adaptive calming capsules is in my bloodstream every single day. And it really just helps the body manage stress and helps the way that you respond to stress. It comes in an essential oil as well as in a capsule, and it's right by my side anytime I have to speak publicly. So yes, it's amazing. Oh, I see all the comments now. They're coming through. All right. So again, managing stress, as simple as it seems, it's going to protect your heart, right? So what are some things that we can do? Deep breath, right? Breathing techniques, real simple, right? Take a break, step away, go for a walk, meditate if that's what you're into, just having some mindfulness to release the stress. Sleep is another underrated tool. We have a wonderful Serenity line that helps with that. Journaling, I like to do a thing called brain dump before I go to bed. That way it's out of my head, on paper, clear my mind, helps me sleep better. Spending time with people that you love naturally releases stress. And for those of you who are people of faith, reading the Bible, prayer, beginning and ending your days, like bookmarking your days like that, are game changing. Okay. I know it was a lot. We keep these conversations packed full of information, and we keep them quick and dirty. But what I want you to know is that you are not alone. You are not alone. I know it's overwhelming. It was incredibly overwhelming for me when I first started. And I just kept learning more and more and more. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that's why it's taken me so long to like make lifestyle changes that are sustainable, that last. But you don't have to do it by yourself. I want to invite all of you, anyone who's interested, to join a 90-day heart health support challenge. We're going to start March 1st. The goal here is to support each other. It's so much better when you have community, so much better when you have someone to do it with you. Someone messaged me this morning and was like, hey, or last night, they were like, hey, do you want to go with me to the gym in the morning and we can do a strength workout and then we can do Zumba? And I was like, my gut was like, no, I don't want to do that. But because she invited me, I did it, and it just was the best start to my day. It's easier when we have a buddy. It's easier together, right? Also, when we do it together, it breeds accountability. So what I'm going to ask you to do as part of this challenge is pick one from each of the 3 slides. One thing from movement, one thing from diet, one thing from stress management, and implement that over the course of 90 days. You can start with one and add them on, or you can tackle all 3 and do it for 90 days. And we're going to keep you accountable to that, right? So that you know you're not out here doing it alone. So if this is something that would be helpful for you, that you would like to participate in, or that you think maybe you'd like to share with your friends, drop your email in the chat. I will send you details and have you come join the conversation, come join the fun, and we can do it together. All right, guys. This was action packed. Was it action packed? It was information heavy. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And thank you to everybody who is catching the replay.